School board meeting for Wednesday, December 12th. Approval amendment of meeting agenda items.
The agenda is as presented, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Move that we approve the agenda for December 12th, 2018 as presented.
It's been moved and approved to approve the agenda items as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approval of minutes.
They're for consideration.
I move that we approve the minutes for November 28th, 2018 as presented.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes for November 28th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Correspondence.
I have none.
Public comment. Let's go to reports. Building principal report.
Who was first last time?
Oh, it's Mrs. Warner's turn to be first.
That's cool. Well, it's glitter season, so the custodians are not in the best mood. We have glitter everywhere, but we're making wonderful little gifts all over the elementary school, like little L's for parents. And we've made sugar cookies and these little popsicles to snowmen and all kinds of great stuff. Behavior's up a little bit, discipline stuff, just because we're wound up about the holidays, or kids that are high risk are worried about food, gifts, that kind of thing. So we always see an escalation in behavior. Christmas programs are coming up. Unions is tomorrow night at 6. And then Hay and Fremont are both on Friday the 21st, right before we get out of school. Hay is at 9:30 on Friday morning, and then Fremont is at 12:30 in the afternoon. That's all on the websites. For parents, we just sent home a letter for parents, kind of reminding them about parking with daylight savings time. We really have to be more careful dropping off in the mornings because it's dark, slick, that kind of thing. And then because of the cougar sighting, and we've also had so many deer on the playground. We had some bucks fighting the bus line the other day. Just talking to parents, having those conversations with their kids about not antagonizing deer on the way to school or on the playground, that kind of thing. Cold weather, remember to wear your cold weather stuff. So that note went out this week for parents, and of course we're bopping along, keeping our head above water. But I was at the law conference last week, and I think we're going to report for that next time coming up.
Yeah.
And do you have any questions?
Get the schedule on your programs.
Unions is tomorrow night at 6. And then Fremont and Hay will be the 21st of December. Hay will be at 9:30 on Friday morning the 21st, and then Fremont will be at 12:30 on Friday.
Thank you.
Ms. Warner? Mr. Stratton?
I'm going to give a report on 2 shout outs to our staff. Last week we had 2 students who showed up in September as new students and new family to the community. We're going through some really hard times, and the staff just rallied and helped them out, and unfortunately due to circumstances they had to leave last week. But the cool thing was what the mom put in the Lakeview announcements about Chris Rose and the staff and how much we did for them and how much their kids loved this school. And the kids really did want us to stay. They said it's the first time we've ever felt part of a school. So it was a bum deal to lose them, but also it was cool to be a building principal and be part of a staff that has gone above and beyond for some students and tried to help them be part of the community. So that was pretty cool, and that was in Lakeview announcements, and I know the mom listed Chris Rose's name personally, and I can't remember if she listed anybody else's, but I thought that was really cool. But Brandy, that's right, it was Brandy, yeah, Brandy and Chris. So it was way cool to know that we got those type of people in our building. The next one is Miss Simpson sent me an email the other day, Barb Simpson, and she said, just a note to let you know what your students and staff are doing in the community. Festival of Trees. I don't know if you know about the Festival of Trees. National Honor Society donated a tree to the festival. It was purchased by Patsy Hall and is now on the floor there at the GM dealership. The horticulture class in connection with Bloomers donated a succulent tree, which was the talk of the festival because it was truly a living tree and so unique. Patsy Hall also bought that tree. The culinary and horticulture classes decorated a small live evergreen with birdseed ornaments and strings of cranberries and popcorns. Miss Graham purchased that tree, which she will plant outside after the holidays. And then Miss Dick's culinary class also provided the almost said hors d'oeuvres, the goodies, both sweet and savory for the evening. Very tasty, enjoyed. God, that was my dad coming out right there, hors d'oeuvres. And very tasty, enjoyed by all. The groups were responsible for delivering, setting up the trees. She was just awesome. And this came from Patsy Hall. I like seeing the high school students becoming civically involved and taking an active role in community activities. And that sentiment was echoed by several of the LCP members. Not only that, but Mr. Fred Smith and Mrs. Shannon Smith, middle school classes, took on a project where they're making Christmas trees out of 1x1 material. They're about this tall, and they didn't know how many they were going to do, but it was a student-generated deal, and then the Avid group did the marketing, and we will anywhere between $2,000 and probably $4,000 donate it to the school in, help me out, why can't I think of it? Paradise, and we're sending it to their wood shop so that they can buy tools once they get a new school. And this was all generated by Fred and his middle school class, and along with Mrs. Smith and her Avid middle school class. And it's been pretty cool. They sold them at the basketball game and at the holiday fair, and a lot of people are buying them and then donating extras, so it's really neat. Probably more orders than what we needed. I actually caught Mr. Smith cheating the other day, and he was using the air gun and knocking a few out instead of having the students hammer and build their own. But there's some cool ones, and they're being sold, and so really excited about that, to see the students working in assembly line, work with the Avid kids as far as a collaboration unit, and the Avid kids doing the marketing of it. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then the next one, the Booster Club / Holiday Flair, Michael Martinez and Tristan Hornberger, which are both out of Mrs. Stratton's Step Up class, loaded all the clothing totes for the holiday fair and then unloaded them. And then she had a handful of students, Trevor Schultz, Christopher Crowell, Karen Warda, were helping, along with Mrs. Stininger and Mrs. Alexander and Mrs. Frank, helping Barb in the Booster Club with the clothing. So it's really cool to see these students step up and do things, and teachers making sure that our students have a chance to do that. So some positive notes on students and helping outside of the school normal athletic or academic areas. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's all I got.
Just for your information, I was in Clement Falls last weekend, and I ran into Dan Fast,
Oh yeah.
who was the referee that got knocked out in the home playoff game. And he's still in a sling, but he wanted to be sure and tell everybody that he was very appreciative of the attention he got while he was in the hospital and once he got home. And he gave particular kudos to Mr. Rose for checking in on him multiple times. Was very impressed. He also was impressed with, because the visiting team was late, and how it was going to roll out time-wise, and he gave all the referees the time of how things were going to happen, and he said in all of his time of ref, he's never seen such organization from somebody. So
That's wonderful.
he was truly impressed, and thought that Lakeview had a top-notch administration going on here. So
Great.
Anyway.
Good job, guys.
just want to give that feedback.
I will.
I think
Anyway, he still doesn't know what happened, but
Well, it's on video, so we actually sent it to him. They used that film, I guess, to do some teaching, because it was a young crew besides Mr. Fast.
yeah.
So.
Anything come out of the OSAA meeting you did?
Oh yeah, thank you for asking. So me and Mr. Rose were road warriors and drove up Sunday evening and then went to the OSAA meeting, which was good. And there was, I think, 5 schools that were there, and one of the members said, you know, we invite all schools, whether they're 1 over or 50 over, to attend. So it doesn't matter. So it wasn't like they were picking on us. And so we did our presentation with the numbers, and I just talked about how I'm pretty sure Lakeview was a school that brought the geographical isolation about 10, 15 years ago, and they all giggled. There's a few of them that remembered that. And it was a good conversation. They understood where we're at, and we'll currently stay in our classification where we're at. I think the next year will be the year that I'll really have to sell some goods. Probably come up with some ideas on mileage and stuff like that, and out of class time. Depending on which 2 leagues we would end up or not end up in. But they never change a school after 1 year, and they also knew our numbers. They recognized our large senior class. They also were appreciative to know the fact that with our electronic enrollment and paying more closer attention to our free and reduced population might step up. And I shared some homework where we showed that our 7th and 8th graders are actually higher than what our average has been in the past. So those numbers will come into play as we move forward. So I think we're all right.
Yep. All right, oh, I guess it's me, huh? Okay. All right, old business,
We have none.
new business.
We have 3 items for your consideration this evening. The first 2 items are OSBA resolutions that they would like your support on, in support of, school board across the state of Oregon. OSBA resolution number 1, item 8.1, is to approve and adopt the proposed 2019-20 legislative agenda. I've read through it pretty comprehensively, looked at it. It basically has a pretty great overview of everything, related to our schools, our needs, as far as what they will do when they go to the legislature, from funding to curriculum to instruction to, socioeconomic piece. I sent in my weekly notes, I gave you guys all a chance to read it. So I'm not going to belabor it, and I will just put it out to you, if you have a chance to read it, if you have any questions or comments in regard to their legislative agenda.
Favorable at this point.
Yeah. So if not, I guess we need a motion for consideration.
I guess the only thing I would say is, I think their legislative agenda is worthy. I just think how they go about it doesn't always match the values east of the Cascades.
No.
Any other comments? Is there a motion?
I move to approve OSBA Resolution 1, adopts the proposed 2019-20 OSBA legislative priorities and policies as presented.
Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the OSBA Resolution 1, which adopts the proposed 2019-20 OSBA legislative priorities and policies as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. 8.2.
Resolution number 2, I heard a lot about this when I was at the OSBA convention, that with, the spirit of equity, that is the big thing, and, as far as OSBA, COSIN, all the educational entities, the Color Caucus, who have been ex officio members on the state OSBA board, campaigned and lobbied to be and have a voting membership and director on that board. So you have a copy of the newly updated bylaws, the pieces in there that add the director, who is going to be a member of the Color Caucus, who will represent on the state OSBA board. The language in there is underlined throughout. So that is that resolution for your consideration.
Who all is on the board?
Well, it's a regional configuration. It's, they, like across the state, it's like a 3-county configuration. In our region, it's Klamath, Lincoln, Harney. In various counties across the state, there's a member from each of those configurations that sit on the board. As far as any other unique entities besides the Color Caucus who will sit on this board, that I can't answer. I'm not sure about that, to be truthful with you, Dusty. So,
What's the intent of the Color Caucus?
I think just to provide a voice and recognition of equity in the state of Oregon in the decision-making process of the OSBA board. I think that's what it's all about.
Well, it seems to me that the way the board is already set up, as you just described it, the schools where it is likely to be of issue are probably already represented.
Yeah, it's a geographical representation across the state.
And by setting up an extra member, you're providing another vote on the board to look after a special
Interest.
protected class, I guess, or whatever, individual, group of individuals versus representation across larger area. I think there's several groups of individuals that probably are struggling, just as much as, those who the color caucus are trying to represent, and they aren't getting an extra vote.
That's true.
So I don't support.
I just think that it's kind of interesting that by creating this extra member, it makes the assumption that we haven't been doing anything for that group of people. And I think that's absolutely wrong to assume that because you don't have an extra body member, that now we're not serving their interests as well. And each school district, each region is focused on the needs of their students, whether there's a member on the board or not, from that group. So, I don't know, I find this one really hard to just rubber stamp like some of the other things that SBA's done for. I appreciate the fact that they've been a group already kind of being represented.
Well, folks, it is your organization, it is your decision, so.
Justin, did you say you do not support it?
Well, the interesting thing I think about this too, though, is that, you know, likely all the other regions and school board will support it. And the look that it gives the school district for not supporting it, it's almost like that pendulum swung so far that, oh, now you're, you know, in some way, you know, don't care about that group, that class. It's like, well, that's not it at all. You know, there may be a few of these regions where they likely have a majority on the board already, which may not represent the majority in that district too. So, in the region.
Well, I personally, probably what I should have done is research to see, you know, what the reaction has been in boards across the state of Oregon. I probably should have called OSBA to kind of get a general feeling for, you know, where it's been heading so far, so. You know,
Is there a need to get this pushed forward right away?
I think you could probably table it this evening until I can probably find out more.
We have to vote on it by the 14th.
Is there a deadline?
Mm-hmm.
No. Now that answers your question.
Well, just where is it gonna end to? I mean, if this group gets a special seat and then, you know, we talked about other groups of special interest or concern getting a seat. And the regional approach that it's taken,
Is that the case, or is it just a matter of people not attending and not having voted?
That I can't answer. I don't know, Barry.
We could vote via email, correct, Andy, by Friday?
Yes.
Well, you said that this is they're already an ex officio member.
They
So
were.
they would be a non-voting member.
This creates a voting position on the board.
So I mean, when you look at OSBA, it's made up of representation across the entire state. I think it's gonna water down our representation. Because you're gonna have another voting member that is likely not going to be coming from rural eastern Oregon.
Well, the language they printed in the bylaws is pretty general. It just basically
Leaves it open.
It just speaks to adding that position as an additional voting member into the board of directors. It doesn't really define that membership or anything like that. It basically just, you know, states that we're adding a member representing the Color Caucus into our organization.
So I guess what got me is it says in the resolution, whereas the caucus has defined its core values as follows: to promote quality education for all students with emphasis on the unique needs of students of color. Every subset of students has a unique need. And if we provide a additional voting member for one unique need set of students, and we're gonna, as Darwin said, where does it end? I think we have several groups in our own school that have unique needs, and they still wouldn't fall under them. So,
So did you guys, on that facts page, right, in board books that I sent you, did you guys click on that link right there? So if you want to, in the next couple of days, by the end of Friday, if you wanna take a look at that link, there's a whole bunch more information on this. Lots of different articles, lots of different opinions and things like that. And what we could do is, well, I don't mean to be stepping
No,
over
no
you right
problem.
now, but we could table it tonight if you can get back to me by end of Friday. After looking at that link and reading a little bit more and we could just do an email vote. If you guys wanna do something like that, if you're not comfortable tonight.
Darwin, is it gonna change your vote?
It may.
It may.
I really just hate the fact that this could make us look bad. I mean, but I don't want this to snowball into now we've got all these extra groups added, thinking that we don't care about every student at every level, at any location, regardless of any, orientation of any kind. So, I mean, it just seems another group trying to add a voice that is already being heard, and it doesn't need to get politicized that way, and that, oh, now we have to focus on this one group and give you a vote when, I don't know, it just seems kind of ridiculous. But that's why I'm curious as to what other groups are doing now. I mean,
Why don't you I'll do the research on tomorrow and email all of you what I found out.
Okay.
I'll particularly, research and poll our adjoining communities are, similar enough, like Burns and John Day. And let me sleuth it out a little bit and give you some more information.
at some
In
point.
the meantime,
yeah.
per Tandy's suggestion, I would click on that link and check that out as well and see, the more in-depth, explanation as far as this whole thing goes.
Okay.
I can vote by
Rest of the
Friday.
board, what do you think? You wanna vote now, or you wanna table?
I'm tabling it. Sounds
Maybe
like
get,
it's
just
a
research it a little
mixed-
bit more. We'll still have a decision by Friday.
Yeah, decision.
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to table till Friday?
I move we table 8.2. Is that where we are? That's where we are.
Yeah,
To be voted on by
Friday.
Friday.
Right.
by Friday, through via email.
Yeah, via email.
We ain't.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so moved and seconded to, table 8.2, gathering more information to be a vote on by Friday. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, 8.3.
Well, it's that time of year again, it's time to start my evaluation process. Basically, I've taken the evaluations from the last 2 years, this is kind of what the process has been. So there's a schedule for your consideration. As we did last year, I don't think we added, flexibility to dates in case you needed to take it into 2 executive sessions. But I believe we got it done in 1 executive session last year. But that is built into the schedule, just in case you need that flexibility. The other thing on there, if you will look at the date of January 23rd, that is your first executive session meeting. Keep in mind, we were always a 7 o'clock meeting start prior to this year, so your executive session before was before the regular meeting. So when we discussed the change of time on our school board meetings, it became kind of a, standing thing that your executive sessions will probably move into the time after your regular scheduled meeting. So, you have TBA there, I don't think we need to amend it, but anyway, my way of thinking is your executive session to do my evaluation will be after the next regularly scheduled meeting on January 23rd. Last year we conflicted with Valentine's Day, we changed the date on that.
Yeah.
This year we do not conflict with Valentine's Day, so.
Okay.
So I'm open to questions, comments, revisions, whatever you'd like to do, board.
So normal board meeting at 5:30 and then executive session
To
after.
follow.
Yeah, correct.
I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're committed that you need to crank it out.
Yep.
You guys good with that?
Mhm.
Guess we just got done with that.
Time flies, Vera.
There was something in there, so.
I'm trying not to schedule those PBL games that night.
Well, it's not only that night, it's
Yeah, a couple of
the
other
second
nights.
one too.
The survey, going to the administrative team, which I think is fine. I just thought, first is the survey to all the staff, and I don't know if that's necessary.
Remember last year, hardly anyone responded?
Yeah, but it says in here just the administrative team, and that's what I wanted to.
Good call.
Big survey, like, time consuming.
A lot of the time falls in this person over here, so.
He's not playing.
So I'm good.
No, that one over there, in the corner.
Okay, so do we have a motion for 8.3?
Yeah, I move to
Looking me
approve
over
the
like,
2018 superintendent evaluation timeline as presented.
Second.
Not me.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2018-19 superintendent evaluation timeline as presented. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 9, consent agenda.
Move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Been moved and approved to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Announcements.
Well, I do have one. We're having the District 7 staff Christmas social on Thursday, December 20th, 4 o'clock at the Elks Lodge. And you are invited. We'll see you there. Bring your spouses, and should be, a nice time.
Okay.
So come on down.
I sent you guys that invitation. Do any of you have an RSVP form? Actually, not for me, for Mrs.
Sure, I'll be
Davis.
there. And my wife.
And your wife? Awesome.
Did you send
I
it?
just go find the.
I did,
No, just kidding.
When?
last week.
I think you can bring them to the
And then she sent an ugly one saying I'm gonna RSVP.
Yeah. There was an attachment buried.
I'll have to,
How about I just put you down and that's fine? Yeah.
Saying I'm supposed to travel, but it's depending on the
Okay,
weather.
no problem.
I'm not gonna do it.
No problem.
last
just
day
gonna
before
check you
government
guys.
shutdown. Potential.
Like,
All right, next board meeting agenda items.
Building reports, we administrators will have a COSA law conference report, have an ASB report. You think
That
your
I
side
don't
of the
know.
street, you don't know this time?
No idea.
Well, she will surprise you, so, there you have it.
And back to the lesson
For the time being, board, that's all I have.
When is our next board meeting?
I believe it's January 13th, right, Tandy?
Yes, and Suze, did you want to have an elementary report on there of some teacher?
That's up to the board and Mr. Cahill, and if they wanna take the, put an extra report in there or not, I don't know how full it will be. But we're happy to do whatever.
Okay,
They like to come.
okay,
Okay.
I guess you just let me know.
okay.
January 9th. January 9th.
Okay. Alrighty, number 12.
You know that.
I'm just gonna adjourn the meeting.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.